we can begin. Oh, somebody
Yes.
recording. Okay, great. Okay, so with the help of Hashem, let's continue. Let's continue
Oops,
studying Musa.
sorry, sir.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yes. No problem. No, it's just some noise got in, but I took it out.
Okay. Now let us. Okay, so we said that we would read the ones left over from yesterday. We'd read that. So let's start with reading that.
Bueno, ayer que nos despedimos, quedamos en que hoy íbamos a empezar la clase leyendo lo que hayan escrito y eso es lo que vamos a hacer. A ver, de lo último de la clase de ayer, creo era un comentario muy largo de Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique, voy a contarles abiertamente mi niñez. Yo siempre he sido un bicho raro. Yo de niño sufría por ansiedad, me comía las uñas y los cueritos haciendo sangre. Me llevaron al psicólogo, la verdad no sé qué le dijeron a mi madre, pero yo sí me acuerdo lo que le dije a mi madre, que no gastara plata en el médico ese, jejeje, que no me escuchaba, que yo solo deseaba ser escuchado de verdad. No quería que me oyeran, yo deseaba ser escuchado. Me enseñaron que había una diferencia entre ser escuchado y oído. El primero es que toman atención y conversan contigo. El segundo es como que fuese ruido, un sonido común en el oído, que me aburría, que quería algo más, que no me trate como mi hermana, que no me gustaban mis juguetes. Desde allí no me compraba cualquier cosa. Fue de poco a poco el cambio. Cambiaron mis juguetes por libros, plastilina y pintura. También le exigía que se sienten conmigo a leer, a ver la televisión y que me cuente cómo fue su día en el trabajo. Debo decir que no me gusta mucho el contacto. Yo tengo genetofobia. O sea, yo creo que es la fobia que lo toquen. So, so I think he wrote this for Johnny and his wife that they might consider doing this
Yeah.
with Hayan. Yo creo que Luis Enrique nos comparte para abrirnos los ojos y ver si alguno de nuestros hijos como Hayani sintiera o pensara así.
You don't want to translate it for me? I could use the
I'm
Google
sorry.
Translate if you want.
Oh, no, it's okay. Well, he was he was
But yeah,
biting his nails and taking blood out of his fingers, and he was taken to the doctor. The doctor, I don't know what he said.
wait,
Luis
slowly.
Enrique
You
says,
have to do it patiently. You have to do it patiently and say everything, well, each thing that he says carefully,
uh,
or else I'm not
"Oh,
going to
okay."
understand it properly. You can
And
if
quiere
you.
que lo haga despacito. Okay, I'm gonna tell you about my childhood. I was always some odd. I was a strange child. When I was little, I had anxiety,
How did he know?
and
How does he
I
know? How did he know that he was strange? I mean, did
well
somebody tell him that he
compared
was
to
strange?
he doesn't say so. I just imagine that compared to the rest of the kids, he was different.
Okay, whatever.
So
All right.
so he says, when I was a little boy, I suffered anxiety. I would eat my
Anxiety.
bite my nails, even the skin, and draw blood.
Right.
So they took me to a psychologist, and I don't remember what he said to my mom, but I do remember what I told my mother. I told her not to spend good money on that doctor.
I wonder how old he was
Because,
at the time.
bueno, Luis Enrique, quisiera saber el rap, ¿qué edad tenías en este entonces de lo que escribiste? The problem was, and I told my mother, that I wasn't listened. I was only heard, but not
Right.
listened. And I wanted to
Not
be
being listened to.
listened.
Right.
I wanted, um, I was even then taught that when you listen to somebody, you pay attention. When you
Right.
hear something, it's like noise. You just bear it. You do
Right.
not pay attention to it.
So people weren't
Uh,
paying
so,
attention to him.
so he told his mother that he needed attention.
Right.
And I said, Rita, okay. And I told her that I got very easily bored, that I wanted something else.
Right.
And I didn't want to be treated as my sister was. And I didn't like the toys that they were buying for me,
They were buying the same toys
eh,
that they bought for his sister. They bought for him.
or the ones that they were assuming that he liked, but
Okay.
they never asked. So from then on, they started changing what they were buying. They wouldn't buy just anything supposedly good for kids. They changed my toys for books, for plastic dough,
Right.
and paintings, or
Right.
paint to paint. uh, I also demanded uh, that they would sit with me and read with me, that we would
Yeah.
watch TV together, and that they would tell me how the day was. I
Right.
have to say that I am kind of allergic to the touch of people. I have this condition called genetophobia. The
He's worried about. He's worried
he
about. He's worried about germs.
No, he just doesn't like to be around much people.
Yeah.
And he was around 6 or 7 when this happened.
All right. I don't know. Listen. I don't know how to. There's a very a person, a human being is very could be very complex.
El ser humano puede ser muy complejo.
And Rav Wolbe says that only you could found the science of yourself.
Y Ralph Walby dice que solamente uno mismo puede descubrir la ciencia de uno.
The science of yourself means to understanding yourself. I mean,
La ciencia de uno quiere decir entendiéndose a uno mismo.
right? Certain things that you describe would I don't want to go get so too personal, so I can't really ask you questions about what you say because it's just too. I don't want to get so personal like in public like this.
Con respecto a algunas cosas que escribiste, Luis Enrique, no me gustaría comentar porque no quiero entrar en
No,
una
no, I
conversación
want to
pública,
understand.
algo.
I want to understand further. In order to understand better, I would have to ask questions, but I don't want to ask such questions.
Dice el Rab que para entenderte mejor, Luis Enrique, a él le gustaría hacerte preguntas, pero no en público.
Right, and but I don't know if you can compare one thing to another. I mean, Hayani is also maybe he needs more. He's also very gifted. He's a little bit similar to Enrique. He's also like a very gifted.
El Rab dice que Hayani también es un pequeño muy dotado. En algo en esto se parece a Luis Enrique. Muy listo.
And for the rest, whatever. Okay, I think that's enough for the. For we read this thing. That's enough with this. All right, so
Creo
now
que
so I
eso
think
es
we can go on to
suficiente con
today's
este
share.
comentario. Creo que podemos seguir con el shur de hoy.
All right. Now, okay, so today, so Revolvi has this part.
Bueno, Ravolvi tiene esta parte.
I said before that Revolvi doesn't, that he said, don't get angry, but don't be indifferent. I said it before.
Bueno, ya habíamos dicho, no te enojes, pero tampoco seas indiferente.
All right, so Revolvi has a meeting about this.
Ravolvi tiene una reunión en donde se trata esto.
All right, so he says, remember, patience isn't indifference.
Recuerden que la paciencia no es indiferencia
Or keeping quiet.
o mantenerse callado.
We need patience. We need to, as a basis to react in a measured way.
Necesitamos paciencia como la medida o la base para reaccionar en situaciones.
In a measured way, to react in a measured way.
Para reaccionar en una medida o en una forma mesurada.
And a proper way.
Y apropiada.
Okay, we need to react. We can't be indifferent.
Necesitamos reaccionar, no podemos ser indiferentes.
But still, we have to have patience.
Pero aún así, necesitamos ser pacientes.
So the way to do this is not with an angry tone, softly.
Entonces la forma de hacerlo es con un tono suave, no enojado.
And really, the making angry demands always it causes from the wisdom of the sages.
De la sabiduría de los sabios.
Making angry demands will cause harm to yourself. I mean,
va a causar daño a nosotros mismos.
Because the people around you will learn to not to pretend as if nothing, as if everything's fine.
Porque la gente cercana a nosotros llegará a hacerse la idea de que no hay nada mal con nosotros, que estamos
I didn't
contentos.
say con nosotros. I said everything's fine. I don't know.
Perdón.
Just say everything's fine.
No
I didn't
con
explain what I'm going
nosotros.
to say. I'm about to say.
Ok. La gente puede hacerse a la idea de que todo está bien. No
That means if every
necesariamente.
little thing that goes wrong, then you just start getting upset at every little thing.
Si por cada pequeño detalle que se suscita nos molestamos, nos enojamos.
So then they're going to learn to not tell you anything that happens. They're going to learn not to tell you.
La gente va a aprender pronto a no tenerte al tanto de lo que sucede.
So therefore, you could have things can go wrong in your house. You could have a leak in the roof, and you could have a pipe broke here, but they won't tell you anything.
De tal forma que puede haber cosas sucediendo en la casa como una gotera o una tubería averiada y no te lo van a decir. No te lo
or if somebody breaks something, they won't tell you.
O si alguien descompone, choca algo, tampoco te lo van a decir.
So then it will end up that you get into worse. You'll end up in worse problems because then they won't tell you about the leaky roof, and then who knows what damage could happen.
Puedes terminar con una gotera grande y no te vas a enterar.
They won't tell you about small things that break, and they will end up causing a bigger problem.
No te van a decir de las cosas pequeñas que se quiebran y menos te vas a enterar de las cosas
Not menos.
realmente.
Those things, therefore, will cause bigger things to happen, to go wrong.
Y el no enterarte de esas cosas que se empiezan a descomponer va a causar que los problemas crezcan, que aumente el daño y tú no
Okay, good.
sepas.
Okay, and the stages say never, 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 never put, use anger to control the people around you.
Y los sabios dicen, nunca uses el coraje, el enojo como medio para dominar a otros.
Okay, and because and they say that anger caused almost the whole tribe of Israel to be lost. This anger, this kind of anger.
Porque este tipo de coraje casi le costó a Israel perder
Not
su
Israel, a
luz.
tribe in Israel, one
Perdón.
tribe in Israel.
Le costó a una tribu en Israel casi
To
to
be
be
lost.
lost,
Yes.
ser perdida. Casi se pierde una tribu de Israel
Okay.
por
And
este motivo.
if you look in from the last chapters in the book of Judges, you have the story there.
Para leer sobre esto, tendríamos que ir al último capítulo del libro de Jueces.
I don't know if it's the last one or it's the one before the last. Somewhere over there. I said from the last chapters, not. I didn't say the last.
Okay.
I said, please
No
forgive me.
necesariamente el último, de los últimos, tal vez el penúltimo
Okay.
capítulo del libro de Jueces.
And what happened there is that a man up north somewhere married a woman from the tribe of Benjamin.
Y la historia allí es que un hombre se casó con una mujer de la tribu de Benjamín.
Okay, maybe he himself was also from Benjamin, I'm not sure.
Puede ser que él era de Benjamín, no estoy también.
And
no
he was living
seguro.
somehow. He was living up north, like a distance away somehow. That's what it
Él
seems.
vivía, parece por el relato, que él vivía arriba, hacia el norte.
And thing is that he didn't treat his wife right.
Y la cosa es que él no trató bien a su esposa.
And eventually his wife ran back home.
Y eventualmente ella se escapó y se fue hasta su casa.
And it wasn't like in those days, it wasn't really such a thing that a marriage breaks up. It wasn't, such a thing like that. I mean,
En aquel entonces no era tan común que un matrimonio se desbaratara.
and so even when she got back home, so her family didn't want to really take her back.
Así es de que aun cuando ella llegó a casa, su familia realmente no quería tomarla de regreso.
They didn't want to take her back, and so meanwhile the husband comes and comes looking for her.
Ellos no querían retomarla o darle la bienvenida, y mientras tanto el marido llegó por ella.
And at that point, there was a whole whatever happened at that point, somehow he ended up leaving the house at the wrong time there.
Y lo que sucede es que él llega en algún momento a retirarse de ahí, pero no era el momento más adecuado para retirarse.
And he ended up getting stuck without a place for the night. And
Terminó llegando de noche a un lugar en donde se vio obligado a quedarse.
and then some bad. He ended up in the wrong part of town somewhere.
Terminó quedando en la parte equivocada del pueblo.
And people not. And then people. They did some terrible things to the woman there at that point.
Los lugareños hicieron cosas horribles a la mujer.
And she ended up dying. And
y terminó muerta.
I don't know. We have the story. We have to study more. But just that the sages say that the result here came about because the person was was angry and tried to overly control his wife.
El mensaje que de los sabios
The sages say.
obtenemos. Los
sabios
dicen.
The sages say.
Okay.
That
los
the
sabios
here,
dicen.
It's my fault because I said too much in one shot.
El resultado de este episodio fue debido a que so it was because of the man being
the man and overly angrily trying to control his wife in his house.
Que el hombre de manera enojona trató de controlar a su esposa.
And so that caused eventually that his wife just ran away.
Y eso causó que eventualmente la mujer saliera huyendo.
And that whole incident led to a war among the all the tribes went to war with Binyamin, and at the end only 600 were left from the tribe of Binyamin.
Y eso terminó en una guerra en donde la tribu de Benjamín se vio disminuida hasta llegar solo a contar con 600 varones.
All right, so patience has to come from being a calm person.
Entonces la paciencia tiene que proceder de ser una persona tranquila.
And calm also relates to humility.
La calma tiene relación con la humildad.
Okay, and so even though these are things that we have to work on, being calm
aunque estas sean cosas con las que tenemos que trabajar, estar tranquilos.
But patience is absolutely in a home is absolutely necessary.
Pero la paciencia en el hogar es absolutamente necesaria.
And without it, there's no peace in the home.
Sin ella no hay paz en el hogar.
Right. And so here, the training at this point is that there's you can't do an exercise in this thing, but he gives the following training here.
Aquí no hay un ejercicio, pero nos da un entrenamiento a continuación.
Okay, this is that when you get into a situation where you potentially could get upset over there,
Que cuando uno entre en una situación donde potencialmente pueda quedar perturbado,
and normally you start getting upset at the people around you. Why did you do this? Why that?
y normalmente empiece uno a cuestionar a los demás, ¿por qué hiciste esto? ¿Por qué no hiciste lo otro?
You start instead act with patience over here,
Entonces, en vez de ello, actuar con paciencia aquí
and deal with things in a calm way rather than getting an angry way.
y tratar con las cosas en una manera calmada en vez de enojarse.
Okay. And Ravolbi says, Ravolbi says that not over here, but another place. Ravolbi says that dealing with things calmly produces better results.
No aquí, pero en otra parte, Ravolvi dice que tratando los asuntos de manera calmada produce mejores resultados.
And that even though sometimes it looks like the anger gets more immediate results. I mean, why did you throw this on the floor? Pick it up right now. Whatever.
Y aunque parezca que el enojo es más efectivo en traer resultados deseados inmediatos como ¿qué? ¿Por qué tiraste eso? Levántalo inmediatamente.
But that in the long run, it's not. In the long run, it's not gonna succeed. You're not gonna have it won't produce a long-term success.
Pero a la larga no va a producir un éxito prolongado.
Okay, and I take Rav Wolbe's word for it that always reacting with anger never produces the result that you really want. In almost all situations.
Le creo a Rapolvi cuando él dice que en la mayoría de las situaciones no se va a lograr un resultado duradero.
Okay. All right. So this is about this one, to react calmly and measuredly. That's this meeting here.
Bueno, entonces sobre esta reunión de Rapolvi, el tema es reaccionar calmado, con mesura.
Okay. And see if anybody has anything to say about it. I see there's 16 messages here. So if somebody's going to say something to say. It's 16. It's all of them in the halacha. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. It's people saying goodbye for halacha, whatever. Okay. Here there's some people have something to say here. Selma has something to say.
Bueno, Salma dice, Shalom, Rabino, yo sé, buenos días, no, bueno, sí. No, acá.
Selma has something to say.
Mi modo de sobrevivir al campo minado es el silencio y la indiferencia. Ya no tiene caso entrar en controversia que lo único que hacen es alterar la paz familiar. Aunque por dentro hay un volcán a punto de explotar, es demasiado desgastante para la familia lidiar con el carácter del señor de la casa. Debería haber clases de paciencia antes de conformar un hogar. Debería haber clases de paciencia antes de hacer hijos. Eso sería algo que traería paz al mundo. La cuestión es que lograr calma en momentos de conflicto requiere una fuerza interior que pocos conocen.
Interesting. Please translate it carefully.
Okay.
I would like to know what
my method in surviving this mind camp, I mean, with the explosives underneath the soil, uh, is silence and indifference. It's no bother. It's not worth dealing with all those conflicts when the only result is to get rid of the family peace if you
Right.
engage in those conflicts.
Right.
Although inside of me, I feel like a volcano, almost at the point of eruption. It's very worrying or tearing on herself or the family to deal with the husband's character. They
Right.
should give classes before you put a couple together, classes in patience, and also before you bring children to the world, that you would study patience. That would be the peace of the world.
Million
The
percent.
thing here is the the thing to overcome is to keep your calm during those moments of conflict, because that requires a lot of inner strength that a
Yeah.
few really know.
Well, I'll tell you something. I don't know. That's how it. That's how it is in our times. It's just the relationship between people is hard. It's just hard.
Las relaciones interpersonales son difíciles. Así
That's how it
es.
is in our times. I don't know.
Así es en nuestros tiempos.
So I believe if both parties really care and want to work at it, then they'll find a way.
Pero si ambas partes realmente están interesadas en arreglarlo, se puede arreglar.
Just that usually it's not like that. One party doesn't care, and then the other person is left just to try to cope, and that's it.
Solo que no suele ser así. Una de las partes no le importa y la otra quiere enmendar.
So you're left just try to cope with the situation. You're not you already learned long ago that anything you say is not gonna make an impression here. I mean, that's what you learned a long time ago.
Y aquí lo que se vino aprendiendo desde tiempo atrás es que no se puede dejar una impresión duradera.
Whatever your reaction will be, it's not gonna affect this. You can't affect the situation. So then the only thing you can do is have indifference and whatever.
Entonces, como no se puede hacer eso, lo único que siente uno poder hacer es manifestar esta indiferencia.
But indifference is also a certain anger. It's really anger. It's just not like unexpressed anger and
Pero la diferencia también,
indifference, not differentiate. Indifference. Please forgive
indiferencia
me for correct.
también,
Not tambien. Indifference is anger, unexpressed.
es
That's all I
enojo.
said.
La
Unexpressed.
indiferencia es enojo no expresado.
And thing is, so you say that you feel like you want to explode inside. That's exactly what it is, because you see that it's anger. Just that, what do you do with this anger?
Puedes ver que es coraje, pero ¿qué haces con este coraje?
I don't know, but there was a woman, the holy woman,
Pero hubo una mujer santa
that somehow in Auschwitz she wasn't upset by anything.
que por alguna razón ella no se molestaba por nada,
Even in Auschwitz,
aún en Auschwitz.
And because her way of looking at it is that I have to appreciate, whatever Hashem does give me, I have to appreciate that, and there's no reason for me. Everything else, there's no reason for me to be upset about it.
Ella decía, yo debo de apreciar todo lo que Hashem me hace llegar y no molestarme por nada.
Everything else is not worth being upset about it. Whatever it is, if this person is not acting in a certain way, it's not acting a certain way, whatever.
Esta persona no está actuando de la manera adecuada.
I didn't say adequate, a certain way that you
Bueno,
wish them to have.
que no tanto adecuada, sino de la manera en que yo quisiera que se comportara.
Even if you're right, even if the person's behaving wickedly, he's behaving bad.
Aun si la persona se está comportando mal, malvadamente.
I don't know. Still, from the perspective of the holy woman, she just says, listen. Everything I can't control that comes from Hashem.
La perspectiva de esta mujer sagrada es que todo aquello que yo no puedo controlar proviene de Hashem.
And so therefore, it's not an easy thing, and it's an easy perspective to have, of course.
No es una perspectiva fácil de tener.
Because the tides of the world are against such kind of thinking.
Porque el fluir del mundo va en sentido contrario a este pensar.
If I can control it, then it comes from Hashem, and therefore it must be good. It must be fine.
If I can't or if I can. Oh. Si yo no puedo controlar esto, debe de ser que Hashem así lo quiere.
If it comes from Hashem, then it must be that this is what's the best.
Si esto viene de Hashem, esto debe de ser lo mejor.
And even Rav Wolbe says, when you have in the spouse, when you see that you see something in your spouse, then you have, if you see that you can't change it, you have to accept it, and that's it.
Cuando ves algo en tu cónyuge que no puedes cambiar, lo debes aceptar.
That's what Rav Wolbe said yesterday. We had that.
Eso es lo que Rav Wolbe nos enseñó ayer. Lo vimos ayer de él.
So, but I was also married, and to actually feel these things, even if I could tell myself over and over again these things, but it's still the emotions. It's not easy to handle.
Al haber estado casado, yo puedo ver que la parte emocional de estas cosas no es tan sencilla.
You can tell yourself over and over these things about bearing the burden and all that.
Repetir toda la teoría una y otra vez, esto de llevar la carga y
right. That's why there aren't so many people like this holy woman. You don't have so many.
Por eso es que no tenemos tantas mujeres como esta mujer de la que habla el Rab, que vivió sagrado.
Right. But we have to try. We have no choice. We have to try.
Pero aún así debemos de esforzarnos, de tratar.
That means to try to work to not the inner part You see, what makes a person upset is that you want things to be a certain way, and then you see it can't be the way you want it to be.
La cosa es que uno desee tener las cosas de cierta manera y las tiene de otra manera.
That's what makes a person upset.
Eso es lo que causa que la persona se moleste.
But the whole cycle is starting with you. You're the beginning of the cycle begins with you.
Pero el ciclo empieza con nosotros.
Let go of wanting things to be any a certain way. That's
Soltar, dejar ir la manera preconcebida de cómo queremos que sean las cosas.
right. And it's true. The other person is no good. Like the Germans certainly were no good.
Como los alemanes ciertamente no eran buenos.
And but she wasn't angry at the situation. It's just this is what Hashem wants now. I have to accept it. That's it.
Solo que ella no se enojaba ante la situación que le tocó. Ella simplemente concluyó, así es como Hashem lo decidió y así lo acepto.
At the moment, and I have to just appreciate what I do have. That I could still pray to Hashem. I could still do really to her. She said I could still pray and do mitzvahs.
Y ella dijo, yo tengo que apreciar, valorar lo que tengo. Aún puedo rezar y hacer mitzvot.
Right, and really because she was the holy woman, so she only that was the only she only valued those things anyhow to begin with.
Y como era una mujer consagrada, sagrada, esas eran las cosas que realmente ella consideraba valiosas.
So therefore, she really said that she doesn't tell the difference between being in Auschwitz and being not in Auschwitz.
De allí que para ella no notaba la diferencia entre estar en Auschwitz y no estar en Auschwitz.
Right, I think it's in a person's power to free themselves up from a lot of the upset.
Creo que eso le confiere a la persona mucho poder para no enojarse.
It's within a person's power to free themselves up from getting upset. A lot of it.
Libera a la persona de muchos pretextos u ocasiones para enfadarse, para molestarse.
A person has the capability within themselves.
La persona tiene la capacidad dentro de sí misma
To free themselves up of a lot of these things. A lot of it.
para liberarse de muchas de estas cosas.
Because the cycle starts with you.
Porque el ciclo empieza con nosotros.
All right. I think looks like this is what we're going to have for today. Today's Monday.
Bueno, creo que hasta aquí llegamos. Hoy es lunes.
And Thursday we'll definitely have about the 9th of Av.
El jueves definitivamente la clase va a ser sobre el 9 de la Av.
Okay, 2 more days, I think, on this subject.
Entonces tenemos 2 días más en este tema.
Okay. Muy buenos días.
Ah, no.
Julieta has something to say.
A ver, Julieta, cuando venga el enojo o ira, recordemos en ese momento que no
Wait,
somos más
please.
que polvo de
Where are
cenizas.
you reading? I
Oh,
have her all the way up here at 6:31. She said something.
a ver, perdón, yo estoy leyendo muy abajo, pero ah,
Tan
este,
cierto lo que dice Rav. Sin calma no se
ah,
lega a
tan
nada
cierto,
raso.
sí. So true what the rap says. Without calm, you cannot go forward or progress in anything.
Oh, you see that? So we have people. There are some people who are actually progressing in life. It's hard to believe.
Es difícil de creer, pero tenemos gente que sí está progresando en la vida. Uh,
And because so many people are just stuck in their relationships and just don't feel they can progress. They're just stuck.
porque hay demasiada gente que solo se encuentra atorada en las relaciones, sin avanzar, sin progresar.
And they don't feel there's
Wow.
anything they can do about it. I mean, they fell into despair and all that, indifference and despair.
Sienten que no es mucho lo que pueden hacer, han caído en la desesperanza.
So it's good to hear from somebody that even knows that being calm could make a difference.
Es bueno oír a alguien que dice que la calma hace la diferencia.
All right.
Well, Germán Gutiérrez, pienso que cuando se pierde, por favor, pienso que los ánimos se calman. Pienso que cuando se pierde, por favor, pienso que los ánimos se calman. Ay, no entiendo, Germán. I don't understand. Oh, now I do. Pienso que cuando se pierde, ¿cómo? I think that when you give up, uh,
Yeah.
that inner heat that you feel boiling up
Right.
just calms down. Creo que lo entiendo así, Germán, que
All right.
cuando decidimos perder el argumento, los ánimos se calman. Eso es lo que entiendo. Bueno, José
You
Alcocer.
give up. You give up on your side of the argument. That's what he means. Give up on your
That,
of trying to be right.
that's what I try to understand on what he wrote, but it's not clear.
Okay. Good. All right.
Okay.
Maybe that's what he means. Very good. Very good.
José Alcocer, yo pienso que para dar la calma y paz en el hogar es darle la razón a la mujer para no pelear y así una mantener la paz.
Yeah.
So José's policy is to just give the the winning word, last word to the woman always, and that would keep the peace in the house.
Listen, that's whatever. I don't know. Yeah. If I believe there could be things could be better if both people are ready to work at it, you can improve things. I believe.
Lo que yo creo es que si las dos personas estuvieran interesadas en arreglar la comunicación, estaría mejor.
Right.
Okay.
But if in the situation where where the other person wherever you can't talk to them, so then you're just left to to try to just cope, and that's it.
Hay situaciones en las que no se te permite hablar, entonces solo te queda aguantar.
And Rav Wolbe said yesterday, that you have to find a way to accept it with love in your heart. That's what Rav Wolbe said.
Pero lo que Rab Wolbe dice es que debes de encontrar la forma de aceptar eso con amor en tu corazón.
That means, yeah, I don't know. It's not simple, but you have to give up on the expectations that you have for the other person. Give up on the expectations.
No sé, pero considero que soltar la expectativa que tú tienes sobre la otra persona, eso ayuda. Julieta, en el matrimonio con los hijos tiene que estar siempre el diálogo y muchas veces ceder o callar para evitar mayores conflictos. In the marriage as well as with the kids, many times one should, for the sake of a dialogue, a lot of times one should give
Wait,
in
wait.
or be quiet.
Again, start from the beginning. I could read it. Let me read it, and I'll ask you what the words mean. In a
Okay.
matrimonio, in the marriage, I'll translate it, and you tell me if I didn't get it right. In a matrimonio, in the marriage, con los hijos, and with the children, tiene que estar. You need to be siempre, always, el diálogo, a dialogue. And mucho veces, much times, ceder. That word ceder, I'm not sure what that means.
Give in.
Give in. Okay. Hoy callar. Keep quiet.
Be quiet.
Para evitar mayores conflicts. To avoid major conflicts. Okay. Very nice. Thank you.
Muy
Very
bien.
good.
Gracias.
I'm
Muy
glad we have somebody to share this wisdom, practical wisdom with us.
Estoy contento de tener quien comparta esta sabiduría práctica con nosotros.
Okay.
Selma, writing more on what she wrote. Así es, no hay nada aparte de él y todo es para bien. There's nothing aside Hashem and everything is for the good. Esta
Right.
es mi ayuda en contra para aproximarme más al Creador. This is my help in order to get closer to Hashem, to the Creator.
Okay.
Los caminos del Creador son misteriosos.
Right.
The ways of the Creator are mystery. Y si
Right.
la
Very, very
parte
mystery.
emocional,
Very big mystery.
sí, muy misteriosos, muy grandes en su misterio. Y si la parte emocional es compleja, porque sería maravilloso tener la verdad, de verdad, un compañero que te haga sentir apreciada. And the emotional part is
Flex.
a factor because it would be wonderful to have a husband that would
Right.
appreciate you.
Right. I think right. That's the very like a certain sad part, and it's a hard thing to get past that kind of thing.
Esto es algo triste y difícil de superar, pero se requiere.
It's a hard thing because a human being feels, in the deepest part of a person, you feel you have certain human needs, and how do you get rid of those human needs?
Porque el ser humano sabe, siente que en lo profundo tiene necesidades humanas que se necesitan satisfacer.
And so, how do you get rid of those things?
¿Y cómo se deshace uno de esas necesidades?
And so, on those, in that over there, it's hard for a person to just say, everything is good, whatever everything's for good, whatever Hashem wants is good. It gets more and more difficult.
Y allí se hace cada vez más difícil
To just say everything is for good,
decir que todo es para bien.
because you feel like you're losing an essential part of yourself. Is you're losing it.
Porque estás sintiendo que estás perdiendo una parte esencial de ti mismo.
Let's say somebody, you know, whatever, like, that's what I don't understand. Like, if somebody is come, you know, somebody's, if I'm using a strong example, but if somebody comes to, if somebody comes, whatever, if somebody comes to chop off somebody's hands and feet, something like that.
Está usando un ejemplo extremoso, como si alguien llegara y le corta las manos y los pies a una persona.
So it's hard to say at that point when you have that loss, it's hard to say, oh, it's so good.
En ese punto, sería muy difícil decir todo es para bien.
And in the marriage, where you feel like you're losing a big part, a big part of yourself. You're losing.
Y en el matrimonio, hay veces que se siente que uno está perdiendo grandes partes de sí mismo.
I don't know, but the people, I don't know. This is deep down. I know in my heart. I mean, I can't claim that I know how to overcome this thing.
En mi corazón, yo admito que no sé cómo vencer esto.
Because you know, the more something is really, really personal to you, and the loss is really, really personal, then the harder it is to just say everything. You know, everything it was all for the good.
Entre más sea el asunto personal a uno mismo, es más difícil decir, todo es para bien.
But I know that that's what Hashem wants.
Pero de alguna manera yo sé que eso es lo que Hashem quiere.
And logically, it's right. Reasonably, it's right. It's correct.
Razonalmente, eso es correcto.
But for a person to feel that there's still work to do.
Pero de ahí a que lo sienta la persona, hay mucho trabajo por hacer.
Okay. And so this is but this is part of our job, to somehow work at this and to try to improve a little bit, whatever we can.
Esto es parte del trabajo que tenemos que hacer, mejorar aunque sea un poco. Julieta, cuando venga el enojo o ira, recordemos en ese momento que no somos más que polvo de cenizas. When you feel the rage coming, just remember that we're nothing but dust and ashes.
Right, but the thing is that Hashem, you know, a person doesn't feel as if they're dust and ashes. If somebody punches you in the face, you feel you're dust and ashes.
Bueno, la cosa es que cuando le pegan a uno en la cara, uno no se siente que es polvo o cenizas.
You can say different things. The question is, do you feel it?
Puedes decir diferentes y variadas cosas, pero la cuestión es, ¿realmente lo sientes?
But our job is to try to work towards that, to work to feel it a little bit more.
Pero nuestro trabajo es trabajarlo un poco más, sentirlo cada vez más.
Work towards feeling it a little bit more.
Trabajar en sentirlo cada vez más. Eso que decimos. Okay. José Alcocer, lo que nos enseñó ayer es paciencia hacia la pareja, especial así la mujer, porque ella es el reflejo de uno, y las áreas que uno debe trabajar porque Hashem usa a la otra persona, en este caso la mujer, para mostrarnos lo que tenemos adentro y
Right.
trabajar en ello. Lo que nos muestra es un espejo para vernos y de allí viene la paz y la calma.
Okay. All right.
So,
So then he claims that he is okay then. Now, so he has already
bueno,
calmed down. Okay.
José parece ser que nos muestra la manera en cómo él puede alcanzar la calma en estos
Okay.
conflictos con la pareja. Está bien.
Very good. But
Isabel,
but
ah,
I know that I know in the heart, if you talk to your heart, it's not it doesn't go down so easy these times in the heart.
pero yo sé que en el corazón esto no llega tan fácilmente.
Doesn't go down so easy. It's very interesting ideas about mirrors and ashes and all kind of things, but the heart doesn't listen so easy.
Todas estas son unas ideas muy bonitas, lo del espejo y la ceniza y el polvo, pero al corazón no se le convence tan fácilmente.
Okay.
Bueno, Isabel,
Yeah.
tal vez suene
Yes.
terrible, pero muchas de las cosas que pasan en el hogar están en las manos de la mujer y para mantener la paz en el hogar es necesaria mucha sabiduría femenina, como dice en el libro del Rab Shalom
Yeah.
Arush. Si
Okay.
alguien lo necesita, ya lo tengo en audios.
Wow,
Busca.
this is about right. This is for sure. It's good. I mean, I wish a woman could do a lot in the world in these things. If she educates herself, she could help the man. A woman could do a lot in these things.
De seguro que sí. La mujer puede hacer mucho en estos casos. Puede
Right.
ayudar
Usually
mucho.
women are more have more insight and understanding of emotional things.
Las mujeres tienen una percepción mayor en cuanto a temas emocionales.
Right. A lot of times, a man doesn't understand himself at all. A lot of times.
Muchas veces el hombre no entiende en lo absoluto.
Doesn't understand himself.
No, no se entiende a sí mismo.
Okay,
David,
because the woman
Sha-
the woman
ah,
has the quality of bina of this quality of being able to have the woman has more of this quality
la
of
mujer tiene
understanding.
más de esta cualidad divina que tiene que ver con el entendimiento. Last one, David. Shalom, rabino. Para llevar la fiesta en paz, yo aprendí a ceder y callar algunas veces. Estoy trabajando aún en este campo. Siempre pienso que debo superar más y mis hijos me recuerdan, es todo para bien. So, Avid says that in order to have peace, he has learned to give in and be quiet. He is working in this field
Abit is a
and,
woman. She's a woman,
oh, okay.
and she's the mother of Josue.
Ah, David es
And
la mamá de Josué. Y
yeah,
dice que, oh, and her children always remind her that everything is for the good. Que
right,
todo es para
very
bien.
good. Well, she
Ok,
brought up
ya
some
son,
good stuff.
bueno, even though it's 10 past 10, but Nini wrote, completamente cierto.
Diana said, it's importante sedar. It's
Oh,
important to keep, sedar means to
to
keep
give in,
quiet,
to give
giving.
in.
Okay. Very, very, sure, it's right.
Moria.
Sure,
Okay.
it's a big, that's a
Sí,
big
es
thing.
importante ceder, sí. Y Nini dice, completamente cierto, Rab, a la hora de poner en práctica cuesta. Creo que a veces hasta los ejercicios de respiración no funcionan. Creo que primero uno debe ser consciente y tener la intención de cambiar para poder lograrlo poco a poco, sino que si no tiene sentido porque uno vuelve a caer en el mismo error.
Right.
It's so hard.
Right.
Okay.
You don't have to
Even
translate,
breathing.
but I'm so you don't have to translate, but I'm so glad to hear that people who are working, are trying to improve. I'm so glad to hear that.
Me da mucho gusto, Algarve, escuchar que se esté trabajando, esté el deseo y la intención de mejorar.
If people are trying to improve, that there's a lot of hope. There's a lot to hope for.
Si la gente quiere cambiar, hay mucha esperanza. Ok, Selma says, si hay alguien de las mujeres que quiera que lo leamos en pareja, me gustaría participar. If there are any women that would like
you can make a
to...
study partnership with her. Selma can make a study partnership with Elisheva.
Selma, que puedes hacer compañera de estudio de este libro a Elisheva.
I think that was a good.
Me
you can study
parece bien.
a few minutes a day. I'm not taking away. I think maybe she learns with you, Margarita. And I don't want you to take. I'm not taking away. She can learn a few minutes with her and a few minutes with you.
Como sabe que es mi compañera, dice, no quiero quitártela, solo dividir que Selma estudie un tiempo con Elisheva y otro conmigo. Perfecto. Julieta, compañeros, los administradores pidieron stop. Ok, que ya no escriban. Ayer escuché la clase, fue de mucha bendición para mí, Rabino. Gracias.
Okay, thank you. Be well, everybody. It's a little late. We got late. We went over the time. Be well, and
nos pasamos,
thank you for the
pero que todos estén bien. Gracias por enseñarnos.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.